Welcome class to Chapter 4, Adding Images. Chapter 4, we're going to look at the following objectives: insert and align images using CSS, enhance an image and use alternate text, insert a background image and perform site maintenance, and add graphic enhancements. So we'll have a lesson video for each one of those. So we'll have 4 lesson videos along with an assignments video. So what is Chapter 4 going to cover? The majority of web page information appears in the form of text, but we can enhance the interest on our pages using images. Maybe it's to portray some information or just to add something visually stimulating for them to look at as they're reading through your text. So images need to have a purpose on their page, so it's a balance between the amount of text and the images that you're going to add. So let's look at our first objective: insert and align images using CSS. So when you choose graphics, you can choose 3 different file formats, and they are PNG, JPEG, and GIF. When you choose based on those formats, you want to think about the devices that are going to use to view your web pages, such as a tablet or a smartphone, so that we're not just thinking about the desktop. So GIF or Graphics Interchange Format, JPEG or JPG, Joint Photographic Experts Group, and PNG, Portable Network Graphics. So we're going to look at each one of those so that you can see the pluses and maybe some limitations that come with those. So GIF files download quickly, making them ideal to use on web pages. They are, however, numbered in the colors that they can represent. So roughly about 256 colors is what they represent. And so that usually with a logo in mind is enough colors. And they also allow for opacity or transparent areas in the image. JPEG files can display many colors, and we're talking about 16.7 million different colors. So this is what, when you take a picture on your phone or on just a camera, this is talking about that's that many colors. There's lots of shades. There is no transparency or opacity offered in the JPEG format. Files saved with the PNG format can display many colors and use various degrees of transparency called opacity. The PNG format gives greater color depth when designing for mobile devices. So when you at all possible can download in PNG format, that is the format that I want you to use. So PNG again has the amount of colors and also has that transparency option. When you add a graphic to a website, Dreamweaver automatically will add it to our Assets panel. Okay, so the Assets panel is going to be in our DOM panel area. It's going to display all of our assets within our website. So those can include our images, our colors, our URLs, media, scripts, templates, and library. You can view assets in each category in 2 ways. You can use the Site option to view all of the assets for a website, or you can use the Favorites option to view those assets that you have designed as your favorites. And I will show you once we look at the Assets panel how you can make an image or a color even as a favorite for your site. When you insert an image on a web page, you need to position it in relation to other page elements such as text or other images. And this is called aligning. And we'll work with CSS classes to do so. As you create rules, remember the rules of inheritance. So remember back in Chapter 3 when we looked at our style sheets such as su_styles.css, everything at the top of the file was global. And then what we didn't redefine in tablet or desktop was inherited down. It's important to visualize how your images will look when displayed in multiple devices. So not only are we just going to visualize it ourselves, we're going to actually go ahead and test it through using live view or using screen sizes in your design view. So make sure that when you're selecting images for responsive design, that you avoid setting specific sizes for image height and width on a page. So you're going to want to shoot for using percentages for our image height or width. Direct them to reduce or enlarge in size as the screen gets smaller or larger. We can specify different images for each device as well. So what you've seen already in SU Styles is that we have a banner that is applied to tablet and desktop, but we have what they call a logo for the smart view, which would be our smartphones. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice what we've learned here so far for lesson 1. So we're going to, first off, before we do any of the steps on pages 6 through 13, we're going to make sure that you have set your default images folder for Stripe and Umbrella to be your assets folder. So I need you to double click on your folder in your files panel, then go to advanced settings and make sure that this path goes through your site and then to the assets folder. So if I click to the end, that is the path that you need. So wherever you have it stored, Stripe and Umbrella, and then to assets. You're going to want to make sure that you have this set for Blooms, TripSmart, and Coffee Shop as well, because if that is not set, you're going to get file paths that are going to be absolute versus relative. That doesn't cause issues necessarily on your computer, but when you upload it to the server, it's going to cause an image not to display. So again, make sure that this is set for each individual site. Okay, so this is DW4_1 open from the data files. And just note that it is not formatted because it has not yet been saved in an area that has the style sheets to go ahead and format that. So we're going to go ahead and save this as About Us. Now once you overwrite that file, and if you get this JavaScript error, no big deal, just go ahead and click on OK. And always, again, update No on the links. Okay, so now we have our formatting. We are going to insert an image. So looking at step 4 on page 4-6, it says place the insertion point before welcome, or actually before when. So we're going to insert an image, and you can see that in figure 3, and it's called Clubhouse. So what you want to make sure is that you go into code view. So on the other side of the W is our paragraph tag if you're looking in code view. And you need to make sure your cursor is outside of the P tag. Now when you do this step in Blooms and TripSmart and then Coffee Shop, you're going to want to make sure that the same thing is happening with your cursor. What we don't want is we don't want to insert the image within the paragraph. We want to insert the image outside of the paragraph. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and insert Clubhouse. So using my insert panel, I'm going to come to Image, navigate to my data files. So Clubhouse. And so now I have that image. So if you have not done that step and you have your image right here before the W, just take it and move it outside of that. Now we have a couple ways that we can go ahead and add in the alternate text, and the alternate text is Clubhouse. We can do it right here in code view, or you can use your properties inspector to go ahead and add it in the alt box. Okay, whatever you add to the alt, please add additionally to the title. Title, because it doesn't look like I got the C copied. Title is what you would see in a browser if you hovered over the image. So kind of like a little bit of a tooltip. Then we go ahead and look at our assets panel. So I need to go ahead and reset my workspace so that I see that. Or I could have went up to Windows and went to Assets. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Assets, and I see I have Clubhouse here. Now sometimes it takes a little bit for this list to refresh, okay? If that becomes an issue and you click on the refresh button and it still does not appear in your images category, you can go ahead and come up to the menu icon in the upper right corner and then click on Recreate Site List, and that should force it to pull in. Okay, so if I wanted to make this a favorites, I could right click on the image and say add to favorites. That would add it then to the view of favorites. I'm actually going to do it through colors. So let's just say I wanted this blue color to be a favorite. So I can go ahead and say add to favorites. Okay, I'll go ahead and click on OK on that. And then when I click on favorites, I see that that is the color. So it's kind of a way to narrow down maybe things that are going to be reused. Now, can I remove that from favorites? Yes, I can. So I'll remove that and come back to site. So each category is going to have its set of favorites based on what you have set. Okay, coming to page 8, we're looking at SU_styles in our CSS Designer panel. So I'll go ahead and drag that out, make it into the 2-column layout. So SU styles and then to global. So what we're doing now is we're setting up CSS rules that are going to allow us to float our images. So this one's going to be global, meaning that it's going to be designed for the smartphone and it's going to be inherited down to the tablet and to the desktop styles, unless of course we redefine them in those sections. So we're going to click on plus and we're going to create a class with the period called float. And then over in the right side, you're going to check your categories again. So this one, we're going to go ahead and use the layout button and layout, let's see here, yep, layout, and then go to float of none. So we're on a phone, we have a very narrow view, okay, so we don't want any text floating up and around our images. That's what we're setting here. So if I click on the show set, that's what I have set so far. Now if we look on page 9, you'll see the definitions of none, left, and right. Okay, so in this paragraph here, we have none. Value means that no other page element will appear beside an image with this selector applied. If we use left, left means that the image styled with this selector will float to the left of other page elements. The right value means that the image will float to the right of other page elements if space is available. So what we're going to do is we're going to set all of our styles for global, which is the smartphone, and then we'll reset the float value for the image in tablet. Okay, so now we're going to use the banner, or not, I'm sorry, the CSS Designers panel to go ahead and set up a new style for that section called image float. So the same thing. So using the media section, we'll go ahead and click on image float. Okay, so add and then image float class. We'll go ahead and go to layout this time and we'll go ahead and click on left. Okay, so we have one more thing that we need to do. We need to go ahead and apply it to our image. Okay, so we have the style defined in both global and in tablet. So if I scroll down, I'm going to go ahead and check to make sure that that's there, and I click on show set. I've got the float of left. Okay, now I need to go ahead and apply that class to this image. So to do so, I can use my properties inspector. So I'm going to go ahead and click on class and I'm going to go to image float. Now when I do that, I see now that my image floats to the left, okay, to the left of my text. To test this out, I'm going to go to live view and I'm going to use the slider to go to different resolutions. So once I get down below that 481, which is the cutoff between global and tablet, you're going to see the text slip underneath. And the reason it slips underneath is because we don't have a float value, we have float of none. But once we get past that 481, the image then floats to the left of the text. You can also test this by going to Design View and using your different screen resolutions down here at the bottom. So I could go ahead and look at iPhone 7, and you can set these up. So you can click on Edit Sizes. You can remove any one of these, modify it, and set up new screen sizes, new devices, based on what you want to test on. Okay, so that is what I need you to do for pages 12 and 13. So let's look at 12 and 13 and how they have them worded. Okay, so they're talking about the mobile size button on the status bar. We do not have that. So you're going to use Live View or use those screen sizes. Same thing with tablet and desktop view. Okay, now let's look at our style sheet before we move on. So I'm going to do a Save All, and then I'm going to look at my style sheet. Okay, so coming down, looking for image float. Okay, and so let's see here. There's image float for left, and it's right above desktop, so I know that this is been added for tablet. And then there is the global one. So when you're working with TripSmart specifically, you could copy these from Striped Umbrella or from Blooms, or you can set them up using the CSS Designers panel. So you're always going to have one that is going to be in global, image float, or image float right. We'll get into that. And you're always going to have one that is going to be set up in tablet. Okay, that is lesson 1. If you have any questions on this section, please let me know.